This is the 2024 election prediction according to not polls or biased news organizations, but rather the betting public. And as a finance guy, I love this implementation of market dynamics. The size of this bet is over $1.6 billion. So this creates a large sample size of participants, all with a vested interest in making a proper, educated decision based off of the totality of the available data. As of early to mid-October, this is where the market currently stands. Trump has taken a slight lead due primarily to Wisconsin and Michigan, shifting from lean Democrat to toss-up. And PA, another critical swing state, is a little bit to the right of both those states. As far as I can tell, this shift happened as a result of just general fading enthusiasm on the Democratic side after the spike that came from Harris replacing Biden, along with some other smaller factors such as the strong debate performance by Vance and probably also the lack of large public events by Trump, which tend to work against him. Now, according to the polls, Harris still generally is ahead in these states, but the gap is closing. The Wall Street Journal today came out with some new polling that interestingly puts Harris ahead in Georgia, Arizona, with a tie in North Carolina, Wisconsin, and a Trump lead in Nevada and PA. If we plot this on a map and give the toss-ups to Trump, this is what we get. But the big disclaimer here is that all of this is within the margin of error, so it's kind of worthless. But the betting markets look a little bit different because they're trying to factor in the totality of the data, polling being just one data point, although a fairly large, significant data point. This is the history of the betting going back a few months. Since Harris got into the race, this competition has been neck and neck, with the recent divergence being the biggest lead for either candidate since Biden dropped out. By the way, the historical accuracy of betting markets is pretty significant. In the 2020 election, this was the betting odds. We can see that Biden had a pretty significant, even more definitive lead in that election, and of course he ended up winning. More recently, polymarket bets also correctly indicated that Biden would drop out of the race in 2024, along with correctly predicting who would ultimately replace him. These markets also cover other genres. One of the big ones is the probability of Fed rate cuts at each FOMC meeting, along with other more obscure things like the intensity of hurricanes. And even aside from direct betting markets, there are many proxies that reflect various events and outcomes. One of these happens to be Bitcoin. Trump is viewed as a pro-crypto candidate, and thus the price of Bitcoin can sharply move up and down depending on things that happen to Trump. So overall, markets are a fantastic tool to give you lots of insights, but they're not foolproof, just like anything else. They can be upset or change dramatically based off of new information. And bringing this back to polymarket, I do want to just highlight one potential major flaw of this betting market. As of right now, polymarket and this kind of election betting, it's not legal in the United States. You can get around this using VPNs, but that means that the majority of these bets are from people outside of the United States looking in. Now, ultimately, that could end up actually being beneficial, having less bias, but at the same time, people living in other countries might have more of a disconnect versus the domestic population. So just something to keep in mind. But regardless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.